Thursday night, people. So let's start filling in some blanks here. Swagu, Caleb Williams, Bears are playing coming up on that night. His rookie season will end with what?
Playoffs. I think the Chicago Bears can go to the playoffs. This defense is really, really good. I think they're a quarterback away, but I like the veteran presence that they added with Keenan Allen in that wide receiver group. They re-solidified this offensive line. I thought Poles did a tremendous job getting going before Caleb Williams ever showed up to get this team built right. Lines of scrimmage still win football games in this league, and the Chicago Bears should be solid and in the middle, and they're in the NFC where it's not overpowered by a bunch of teams.
So they'll play Houston. So, Neek, how about their young stud? C.J. Stroud's sophomore season will end with what?
Conference championship game. I think what we saw from C.J. Stroud last year was just the beginning. And they are obviously making decisions to load this team up now. The defense is getting better. They're feisty fighting in camp, which makes us all happy. I think this team is well within their window, and they're going to make a leap this season.
Okay, so you've got Jets, Texans, I guess, in the AFC Championship game. And then finally, RC, let's talk about Dak Prescott. This, of course, is his contract year. Dak's contract season ends in what?
Dak being the highest paid player ever that doesn't win a playoff game this year. Because that's exactly what's going to happen. They ain't going to win no playoff game. Dak's going to be at his house watching the playoffs with us, and when it's all said and done, he's going to get $60 million plus per year because that's the way it works. That's what he's earned. That's what he's going to deserve as the next guy up, especially when we see all of these other younger players who haven't accomplished what Dak has getting $55 million a year.
Yeah, and one of those was Jordan Love this weekend. In case you missed some of the NFL news over the weekend, Tua got paid, and then Jordan Love got paid even more than that. For the moment, Love is the highest paid player in the NFL. And that was a subject that was raised to Jerry Jones at practice yesterday. And as usual, Jerry had a lot to say.
Dak is a better quarterback than Jordan Love?
Well, Dak for us is I get in trouble every time I make comparisons. Okay, I do get in trouble. And of course, we saw a head-to-head match with Green Bay last year. We've all got that burr in our saddle. I'm anxious for Dak to get a chance to show he's the best with the Cowboy star on it.
And you think he can do that without a new deal?
Oh yes,
yes.
Yes. But don't. That might imply that we're not going to do a new deal, and that's just not the case. Those things change. It can happen.
Okay, so, I mean, there's so much there. Domonique, I'll give you the first.
It ain't a lot there.
It ain't
a lot there. Go ahead, Foxy. Go ahead, Foxy. I ain't going to go ahead, Nick.
It's just a word labyrinth. I'm trying to follow and figure it out, but I think RC pointed this out in the first hour, that man is a marketing genius. He keeps us talking about it, keeps us talking about the Cowboys, and he keeps them making money. But I think at some point, you got to make the decision to just say the thing that will not get the headlines. Or don't answer questions at all. Fall into the background. One of the most interesting things about the Cowboys to me is since Tony Romo took over back in 2006, they have been one of the best run and most effective and successful teams in football. I think they're sixth most for wins. And you look at the top 10 of teams for wins since 2006, they are number 6. But everybody in the top 10 has won a Super Bowl. They ain't even been to one. So I don't know, whatever they're doing something really right, and then they do it really wrong in the playoffs. It's a mess.
Go ahead, RC.
Yeah, I mean, what's happened really wrong during Dak's tenure is this offense hasn't played very well. Dak's interceptions have increased. And last year, he cut the interceptions down during the season, but he took more sacks. And then we watched the Jair Alexander interception that he throws deep into his own territory, and then the pick six as well. And so I think Dak has to take some of the blame, at least for some of the things that have happened since he's been the starting quarterback there. And obviously they couldn't stop a nosebleed. When you listen to Jerry's answer, he's really trying to give you the love the one you're with answer. Because the first thing he says is, for us. So he's trying to get out of the realm of comparing quarterbacks and just talk about what Dak has been for them. Because last year, Dak was an MVP candidate in the regular season. Dak has been a guy that has won a ton of football games, very comparable to who Patrick Mahomes has been in the regular season. But he's also failed in the playoffs, and he's failed miserably at times. And in the end, that's what greatness is often defined in when we talk about quarterbacks. And so for this team, Jerry was trying to answer a question and not separate the two Dak Prescotts. Because if we're talking about regular season Dak Prescott, you could say that he's better than most quarterbacks. If you're talking about playoff Dak Prescotts, there's not many quarterbacks that you take him over.
The hard part is, to RC's point, but like at some point you hope that they are breaking the glass ceiling, right? Right now the playoffs is Dak's glass ceiling. That ain't stopped Trevor Lawrence from getting $55 million.
Right.
Yep.
It didn't stop Tua from getting $53 million. It ain't gonna stop Dak. Yep. So it doesn't matter what Jerry Jones says. All right. What matters is the fact that Dak Prescott 3 years ago got all the leverage you could get as an NFL quarterback with the Dallas Cowboys because Jerry played the same game he's playing right now. And everybody lean in. Let me tell y'all a secret, all right, which has nothing to do with that. Lean in, RC and Foxy. The Dallas Cowboys played a National Football League schedule without a linebacker last year.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is still, I mean, last we looked, Green Bay just ran for another touchdown in that game.
Yeah.
All right, so now, here we go.
Hold on, G. Hold on. Now, I took it as far as it needed to go.
Okay, fair enough. You're right. I went a little, my bad. All right, so Kevin,
Yes.
this is the first time you've been on our show since, with me as the host. I'm about to put you in an incredibly complicated position.
Please.
Take the money out of the equation. Take the contract out of the equation. Everything else out of the equation. I'm letting you have either Dak Prescott or Jordan Love as your quarterback for the next 5 years. Which one do you want?
Not complicated. It's Jordan Love. Not complicated at all. You've
seen enough in 11 games or whatever it was that he was last season, starting October, whatever. I mean, we did the numbers last week. You've seen enough to say right now you would rather have him for the next 5 years.
Yep. First of all, they were on the same field just a few months ago, and we saw that head-to-head. The highs that Jordan Love has hit, Dak Prescott, although he's been a borderline top 10 quarterback for most of his career, Dak Prescott has never hit those highs. He was never the best quarterback in football over an 11-week stretch. He was never this special. I think we're seeing greatness, frankly, unfold in front of us. Now it's being helped by Matt LaFleur, who's a great coach. He's better than any coach that Dak Prescott has ever had, and at this rate ever will have, just because how Jerry Jones operates his franchise. And just so everybody knows, like when we're watching these Jerry Jones press conferences, this is not normal in the NFL. No other team does this. Nobody has training camp where you're going around and one owner, Stephen Jones, might be having a press conference, Jerry's having a press conference on the other side. There's CSI actors all over the sideline, and everybody has to talk to them. They don't run like a normal franchise. They create distractions. So any gap that Dak could close is being harmed by the Dallas Cowboys and the way they operate the franchise. So Jordan Love is better in a talent vacuum, and he's not being helped by his franchise.
Yeah, I'm not willing to go there yet. I'm more of I need to see a consistent sample size. Dak has been consistent. He's been a big reason why the Dallas Cowboys have won 12 games the last 3 years. And if you ask anybody, like you'll take that. If I just told you blindly, I'm going to give you 12 wins a year with this quarterback, and he's going to play at a high level. You're going to deal with your down parts of it, but he's going to give you 12 games and you're guaranteed to go to the playoffs. I still stand by that because it's fair. We take the playoff sample size and we say Dak Prescott is absolutely out of the conversation with being a top-tier quarterback. If Dak Prescott is not playing for the Dallas Cowboys over the last 5 years, they are irrelevant. They are absolutely irrelevant unless they got one of these young guys that was going to ascend and go crazy. So it's always a hard conversation. And Kev, I understand where you're coming from. I have this conversation with Cowboy fans all the time when we start talking about that. Because you see the highs and lows throughout the season. Playoffs come, everybody gets scared and gets shook. I've seen Dak Prescott play at a top 5 quarterback level consistently over a number of weeks. I think it's a lot of it has to do with the Dallas Cowboys franchise and organization. A lot of it has to do with playing that position for that franchise gets you judged tremendously harshly than anybody else in the NFL. I think he's done a phenomenal job. Jordan Love upside higher than Dak's, but I'm not going to go there to say he's better right now.
Just looking at the names that were on the screen a second ago, Nico. Go ahead, RC. Of the guys who got paid very quickly, Justin Herbert doesn't have a playoff win. Tua Tagovailoa doesn't have a playoff win. Go ahead, RC.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I think what Marcus is saying is true because we're forgetting that after San Francisco last year, I think Dak threw 3 interceptions in that game or had a bad game. Dak was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, too. We're talking about the sample size of the 11 or 12 game run we saw from Jordan Love, but Dak had a phenomenal MVP caliber season last year, and I think we're starting to overlook that because of the way the Dallas Cowboys seasons end. And to Kevin's point about the way that this organization is run and the fact that it is different, you only know what you know, right? You only know what your household is. CeeDee Lamb only knows an NFL organization run where one owner's on one side and the other owner's on the other side. He only knows how an NFL organization is run where Conor McGregor and LeBron James and all these people go to the game. And last I checked, that doesn't change from the regular season to the playoffs. So to sit here and tell Jerry Jones they need to live a different way for this team to be good is just false. What needs to happen is folks need to execute in the most important times. And maybe that is what Marcus is saying. Go and get an A.J. Brown or go and get a big free agent in the offseason to help you be better.